also would like to invite up some of the cast. We've got Andrew McNee here, Siobhan Williams, come on up, Eva Day, and also I just ran into Daniel Doheny outside, so he's here, come on up.
He came in character.
In case we didn't recognize him.
We also have a lot of our other cast and crew in the audience. I'd love to give them a big round. Yeah.
So, it is a film that's a bit of a departure from your first feature film, and
A little bit.
A little bit. But I'm curious what drove that decision for you. Was obviously the first film required a lot of detail, a lot of research, a lot of real faithfulness to fact. Was it the freedom offered by a comedy that drew you to the material?
I think, we're just interested in writing different stories and not being, put in a box of doing one particular thing. And so, we're actually working on a sci-fi thriller next, which is totally different. So, yeah, we're always constantly trying to...
It takes years to get here. Like, we wrote this 4 years ago, so even our sensibilities have totally changed,
Yeah, you guys are hard to pin down. Why can't you let yourselves be pigeonholed? It's so much easier that way. But did this allow you to draw, and both of you come from a theater background, and we can turn this over to the cast as well, but draw from your theater backgrounds in terms of having actors bounce off each other in the scenes, or how did that inform the writing and then the actual shooting?
Well, Daniel Doheny and Andrew McNee, we both acted on stage with, and we really believe that in what we've gotten from the theater. I think storytelling, Shakespeare, we're done a lot of Shakespeare that influences storytelling, and we've worked with these amazing actors that we know can do film and TV like they've proven. So I think we draw in the theater all the time.
Is that where the Oedipus stuff comes from as well?
Yeah.
My mom's here, so...
Okay, so we should definitely ask more questions about that, is what I'm getting from you here.
I know, my mom's in there in the audience too. Hi, Mom. Yeah, we were taking a writing workshop down in LA, and we were working specifically with this one writer, and she was kept pushing the relationship really far, and we're kind of like, whoa, where is she taking this thing? And we're like, whoa, let's back off there. When we left the workshop, we're like, whoa, she's crazy.
So really, this was the backed off version?
Yeah, this is the backed off version.
Well, that's interesting. We should dig deeper into this. Do we have any questions out here in the audience? Right in the middle.
Yes, so everyone, I just want to say, congratulations on it. It was actually a great film. It's actually kind of like
We surprised you.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Caught him unaware.
And you in the film, and you're all in character. Both of you are in character. Yeah, with you all in one shirt.
Yeah.
That's it. Kyle and Raj first, but first I was like, what was I know you got a lot of people in this film. You got Green, you got there's part, you got Andrea, which I think her sister's here actually, Diana, and also you also got Andrew actually in this film. So how do you get a lot of great people in this film? And for the people in the film, did you produce any of your personal experiences in school when you were making the film?
So the question was about the casting, and then for the cast, did they draw off many personal high school experiences?
Well, we got our casting directors here, Chris and Cara. I want to give a little shout, a little wave.
Yeah.
So, they helped us with all the casting. And did you guys have personal experiences that you applied?
Not really. High school was pretty different than that.
Yeah, walk us through it.
I had more friends.
I had less friends, so we played the wrong roles, evidently. Great casting, guys.
Playing against type.
I asked my wife out 17 times before she said yes. No, it's not true. It's not true. But I was a pretty... None of it's true. None of it's true.
stayed alive through the most of my career. So I was kind of like the pretty bookie, so I feel like that was accurate.
But I do think that everybody deals with the kind of subject matter that's in this movie in high school, like being alone and feeling weird all the time. You know, I felt like that a lot of the time. So.
But you had
In
so,
that
you had so
way, I
many
did
friends,
draw.
though.
Yeah. I mean, I had some friends, but I wasn't like cool.
I played badminton, and I took a personality test like that. I actually, the #1 pick for me was a puppeteer. I was so mad at this personality. I was mad at my own self with this personality to get a puppeteer. And actor and director up there too. So I went back to my personality test, and I cheated. And I went back and tried to change it so that puppeteer would disappear and director and actor were at the top.
But what is a director if not a puppeteer?
Right.
When I was in kindergarten, somebody came up to me and shook me while I was going to the bathroom. That was my pants. And I went back to the classroom and I stood at the door. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was happening. And I stood at the door and just stared, and there was like story time. And my teacher looked at, and everybody in the class looked, and she's like, "Are you all right? Did you pee your pants?" I was like, "No." So
We are really getting into some stuff here.
everything in that movie has happened.
No, yeah, okay. Another question from out here, how about instead? Stare into the void.
How about the rowdy balcony? Any questions you want to yell out?
Russell Peters, his
Russell
involvement.
Peters.
We sent his agent the script. His agent read it. I mean, that's kind of how it happens with a lot of the stars. There was no back door into him. The agent read it and gave him the script, and he wanted to do it. And
Judy was attached at that point too, which I think helped so that he knew, who was in it, and I think some of our other cast started to be attached. So, and he came a bit later.
Well, as someone who's watched like every episode of Arrested Development probably 12 times, I thank both of you for giving Judy Greer a role deserved of her.
she has worked with every most famous, including Kyle now, most famous director in the world. She just did.
Puppeteer, please.
Yeah, she just did Clint Eastwood's latest movie. She did. The guy who did Boyhood. I'm blanking right now. Linklater. And her agent came and saw it at TIFF with us, and he was just so glad that this script came along where she could run the movie and have something to play with and not just be in a movie.
The writing process between the two of you, obviously you contributed the urine-soaked pants story to the process, but do the two of you kind of tend to write together, or?
Yeah, we write together, we argue, we sit there taking turns on the computer, and it just goes back and forth. We always lay it out on cards, at some point onto the table, rearrange stuff, and then just keep coming back to the script. So, yeah, that's kind of...
It's the best way. I love
Yeah.
working in a partnership, and I love working with Kyle. And I was watching tonight, and it's funny he brings up the personality test, because I watched the personality test, and I was like, I remember us writing that, but I never could picture what it was. And Kyle was like, there's just sometimes that happens, and Kyle's like, no, I know what it is, and then you see it, and you're like, he knew what it was?
Yeah.
He was telling the truth.
And when it comes to the actual shoot, then you guys pretty lax with your cast to let them take things in different directions. I'm gonna turn it over to them. as
Do
well.
we?
Pass it along. I mean,
Gotta
we had
pay
little
attention.
moments of kind of improv in there. There's, Andrew's bit where he's telling, what's his name, to put his phone in his pocket and get back into class. Martin, that's ad-libbed. That's that line there.
Yeah, we did lots of improv on
Yeah.
set, but it's always hard to, I find, get the improv actually in the film, because a lot of the time it doesn't really drive the story. So there's lots of stuff that we did that didn't make the final cut of it, but
Yeah.
maybe there'll be deleted scenes or something, like a gag reel.
Yeah, on a DVD, those little things.
And
But
do
they
you-
are great. Kyle's an awesome director, and he does let us play around. And even if we don't get to improv, we're still making stuff up on the spot. Even if we're not making up lines, we're still making up the way we act it. So.
Yeah, I think this script was so good that everything in it was
full, and it didn't need a whole lot of extra improv. It was written in a very real way, so it wasn't challenging to take the writing and be like, how do I make this sound like someone who would actually say it? It was all already grounded and amazing. So I think any improv was just kind of to get us into the scene, to start it off, and then maybe put a cap on the scene. But
In that sense, I'm wondering for Daniel, did you and Judy have a lot of time to rehearse beforehand, or were you kind of thrown into the deep end of this relationship?
No, we met each other on the first day that she was filming.
And what
The
was
first time I met her, she was getting her makeup done.
what was the first scene you shot?
The first scene was her leave. She was dropping me off, I think, at public school for the first time. Was the first scene we did.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. She was so cool right off the bat. Judy Greer's awesome, and yeah, it was really cool. I didn't get to rehearse with anybody really beforehand, but Judy was really cool. We got along right away. Russell Peters is a crazy person. He's insane. I just wanted to say that. But yeah, in a funny way, like he just jokes nonstop. But yeah, no, Judy was awesome. But it was like just lucky. We just got along really well right away, and that doesn't always happen. So yeah, it's cool.
Gonna give people out there a chance again. Any hands? Right in the middle.
Russell
question.
Russell
There's one
improved all day, and we couldn't put it all
They
in the
don't want-
movie.
They don't want to hear about this. They want to ask the question.
I have a question. When you guys, I know you did the comedy exchange, how many phases did you go through with your script? From first doing your first pass, how many passes did you have to do in order to get it to where it was?
How many passes of the
How many
script?
passes? I don't know.
4 major ones, maybe.
Yeah.
There was a bear in there who was his best friend at some point. There was a car
Yeah,
chase.
Yeah, he was in the woods, like he was really homeschooled, and there was like he had a birthday with a bear, and that all disappeared. We're like, not doing the bear. Yeah.
And then how many story editors did you work with? Like
We worked-
at what
how-
point, I'm sorry, at what point were you like, you know what, we have to leave it? Because you can always
Right.
change it with different people's.
Right. So, what story editor did we work with, and at what point did we just leave it? So, we worked with Kiwi Smith, who wrote Legally Blonde, and 10 Things I Hate About You, and we worked with her. She was amazing. She was great. And then at a certain point, you're like, yeah, we need to just start getting this out. We can't continue to write. But anytime a new person kind of comes in, or a piece of funding comes in, there's always a little bit of, like, if they're a significant chunk, they're going to do a little pass on the script and go, well, I kind of think this and that. But once you get the train moving, getting the cast attached and the money coming in, then they can't hold you back with notes, which can happen, and you could just kind of be stuck in development. So.
And then once you were shooting, did a lot change? Did you have to change?
Did a lot.
We were shooting.
Change
Not so much, but
No.
when we're editing, like we're cutting big chunks that you're in a scene later on, you're like, oh God, how do we make that work? So it's like a puzzle of like story pieces, and you lose all these pieces, and you still have to try and find the story throughout. So that's probably the most difficult of the storytelling sections.
Well, it was great. Congrats.
Thank you.
How did you choose the shooting locations?
How did we choose the shooting locations? Well, drove around a lot and found places. It was a real challenge to balance half of the shoot outside the zone and then inside for all the tax credit reasons. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of a juggle. And if there was turquoise in it, that helped. It was all very like turquoise and pink kind of movie. Yeah, we had a great team supporting the whole film, so we just felt.
You have to make things work, because on the final day, or one of the final days, we needed an airport, so it was the planetarium, outside the planetarium, and then we were inside the planetarium, and that was Cambridge, and then we were at the hill, a scene that we cut, we filmed on the hill right there, so we had to fill all these things in one day. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, that's the magic of filmmaking, is trying to make things work. And it snowed. We filmed in this past December. So like there's little places where you can see the snow in the film, but there was snow all the time. And on every tree there's Christmas lights up. I don't think we've seen Christmas lights in there.
We
Yeah.
did a little bit, but
It was hard.
I think we have time for one more question if there's one out there.
What about the music?
Choices of music in the film.
Yeah, we.
Matthew Rogers was our composer. It was just amazing stuff that he brought.
And Natasha Dupre was our music supervisor, and so working with both of them.
Josh Ramsey wrote us an original song for the film, which is the one during the fire outside, which he wrote "Call Me Maybe," so is awesome, and
Yeah.
we know him. So Ashley Ball, Hey Ocean, a ton of Vancouver indie artists who we were just thrilled to get their music in our film, and we love music. We love writing to music, and we went through hundreds of songs to find the right songs. There was some Radiohead, hidden in there. Cost us $10 million.
Yeah.
And do we have one more right there?
What's your writing practice? How many hours a week do you guys write together?
Writing practice. Well, we're always just trying to get to the next deadline of something coming up, so I think it's based on that. So
Ask our wives.
yeah,
They're here.
Yeah, they're here. But yeah,
Which is whenever we can, we're trying to write. And there's so much like business stuff we both have to do with making all these things, so it's just trying to find as much. I wish we had more time to write.
we try to do 2 hours of writing. I can't say that we do that, usually, but we try to go for 2 hours a day, and then we do the business stuff. So.
And it's more like 00010.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, excellent, guys. We'll let you go and explain yourselves to your mothers who are in the audience.
Yes.
And but thank you very much for sharing
Thank
the film
you.
with us tonight. And thank you all for being here.